Well, welcome to my channel, Mispronounced Adventures. My name's Alex and welcome to a partnership video, this one with Anycubic. Now, I'm currently sitting in my MENTGE and for me this is just after I've come back from my 5th Arctic winter. So I need to do a lot more building on the van and this partnership's going to help me with some of that. Specifically, I'm working with Anycubic on the new Anycubic Kobra S1 Max 3D printer. Now, history of this channel and my history with 3D printing, I've had about 3 3D printers in the past, and on my last van, the Ford Transit, and this van, I used them quite a lot. Sure, I can print little things, but I've also got more practical designs for external use, such as designing the camera mounts for my roof rack for my surround camera system on my Ford Transit, or on this van, I prototyped all the bolt holes on my original engine preheater mount before I got it manufactured out of metal. Now, with 3D printing, I am no way an expert at it. I like to say I'm a little bit above basic level. I can tweak settings, I can play with them, I can put them apart, and I can design my own parts and sort of figure out different materials needed to do different things. Also putting some silly things with multi-material printers as well, such as a Halloween-themed Bulbasaur and a glow-in-the-dark one-ring cover for an Alexa. And whilst there are plenty fun toy uses for 3D printing, for me, and the purpose of this channel, they're often a great and functional tool for me for components and making smaller tools and guides for routing quick and easily. Things like this make sense on my channel. So when Anycubic reached out to me, I agreed to it. And also partnership and branding videos are what makes all the free content which you guys watch, like the Arctic seasons for the last 5 winters and the new van build, possible to do. We have a lot to do. So this video, me taking a look at the Anycubic Kobra S1 Max, seeing what's in the box, putting it together, designing some parts, getting them printed and installing them on the van. So let's get on with it. Although we're going to film it in here because I can have the heating on and I've got space to film it. Obviously this printer is quite big and it's not going to live in here permanently. I can put the bed slats down and actually have a space to test and use it. Right, let us figure out how we're going to film this in here. Right, let's go get the thing. Well, first off, this thing is huge and heavy. I think the delivery itself was 32 kilos plus, but here it is. Anycubic Kobra S1 Combo Max. No, Max Combo. Combo because it's got the multi-material manager with it as well, which is going to be in there somewhere. And hopefully it's going to be fine. It looks like in shipping, which is obviously nothing to do with Anycubic, I think it was DHL, took a bit of an impact on that corner. The rest of it looks fine. So let's get it opened up. And it has a nice tear here to open carton. Ooh. Ow. Well, almost round. Oh yeah, you can't fault it for being not well packed. Plenty of new foam for me and Neil on building this van. Right, instruction manual, and yeah, there we go. We've got the main unit and we've got the multi-material manager. Just going to look at the corner which took the impact, which I'm not entirely sure which one it was. Yeah, it doesn't appear to be any damage from the area which took the impact. But let's grab the instructions and see where we do next. Application, assembly. Right, we do have some assembly to do, so first off, let's get it out of the packaging, get all the tape off. Right, glass top. But before we start playing with everything, let's clear up all the rubbish because there is a lot of packaging and then we'll start to actually assembling it. Right, let us start getting this assembled. Box. In the box we have all the components, which we will have a look through in a minute. Oh, and cable for power, an additional 2 power cables. Oh, cut the cable tie to release the print head. That is an extremely cruel way to factory cut your cable ties. There's another one as well. Head is now free. All right, another chunk of foam released. First look inside the unit. Now we're going to get out this bit next as well, which is the multi-material bit, or the Ace 2 Pro as it's called. Let's get the Ace 2 Pro out. Oh, the second power cable is because the material manager, the Ace 2 Pro, is powered as well. Right, we'll be playing that later on. Right, next up, I need to remove the shipping cradle it came in with the provided Allen keys. Right, there's one of the shipping components removed. Let's get the other one. There's the second one. Right, now I need to unlock the print bed, remove 3 screws. I mean, the screws are pretty easily marked. You can probably see on here. I mean, there's arrows going to each of them. Right, released. Right, next step. So we're going to skip these 2 steps. This is installing the support and the spool support to go on the back if you're just going to be running one spool and you've not got the Ace 2 Pro for multi-materials. So we'll skip that. Install active carbon pack. Okay. Right, next is one of the sort of minor marketing points for this is its active carbon filtering. So printing engineering materials, which is what this model is designed for, ASA, ABS, polycarbonate. Some of them smell quite a bit. It's got its own built-in filtration system, which is good because I'm going to be printing for the testing of this inside the van, and this is quite a closed space. Wouldn't generally recommend printing with, well, actually many printers in an enclosed space at all. So we're going to get that installed. It just goes in there. My little panel. Arguably from a video point of view, it's going to be hard for me to quantify how well that works because you can't smell video. Right, next up, we're going to install the Ace 2 Pro. Right, let's get the tape off the print head. Nice little lock. A lock and a seal actually on it as well, so it should do a good job at keeping your filament dry. Bag out of there. So we've got tubing, we've got some test filament as well. Right, we're going to install the system to actually get the multi-materials into the printer. For that though, we're going to spin it round. I do like that these are carry handles because this thing is heavy. Quick observation, I think its poo chute goes out the side, which actually I think is quite a good feature. Because it means you can set it further back against walls. Bottom of the printers, it goes at the back. Oh my God. Right, let's get the back of this all set up. We need that. And we need bag 2 for return detection module. Spool holder. Oh, probably that one then. Right, that goes in there. In. We now got to do 4 tubes in the back. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. I think what we'll also do, we've got a bunch of these little plastic things, which we're going to use to just do some organisation of these tubes. There we go, let's get this plugged in. 6-pin into 6-pin. And we've got a power cable from here to do somewhere. There we go. 6-pin to 4-pin, 4-pin goes in that one, 6-pin goes in that one, and conveniently, these little star things have 5 slots for cable or P, so put that in as well. Right, next step, get it powered on. Right, I'm going to get the work site tidied up of all the stuff we don't need now, and then we'll get it powered up. Powering up time. Brought in a Bluetti Elite 300, mainly because those cables are quite short and that's easier than me to run an extension cable. And also, out of curiosity, I can see how much power it uses. Let's get it plugged in. Booting up. I don't know if this is on. That is now on. Right, built-in light as well. This thing is huge. I don't think that's the feature of don't stick your head inside the machine. Global, region, global. Scanning for Wi-Fi. Yeah, you don't need to see my password. Right. I need to go get something to put the app on. Right, I pressed the next button and it's now doing its calibration process for the initial startup. PID calibration. I guess to be fair, we're just going to leave it to do its thing for a while. Well, as that's doing its calibration, a few points about the printer really. As you may notice, big print bed, 350mm by 350mm by 350mm, which is substantially larger than my other 3D printers, which are about 25cm all directions, which means for me, some of my prototyping in the past, I wouldn't have had to splice up the model to make it fit. I could just print it in one. And one of the other main points, which is promoted a lot, is it's designed for engineering materials. So whilst lots of people print PLA, PGT, when you want to design a structural component or a component with some higher heat resistance, such as polycarbonate, where in my context you could print parts for potentially diesel heaters with polycarbonate, or when I'm printing things I often use ASA quite a lot due to its UV resistance, specifically for being outside and having things like the camera mounts. For that, for the statistics, it's got a hot end up to 350 degrees C, a maximum bed temperature of 120 degrees C, and up to an active temperature chamber of 65 degrees C. The active chamber heating comes from the small heater down here, which I can actually just demonstrate by manually setting it to 50 degrees. And the other one is an enclosure 3D printer, so you can close the door, keep it warmer inside, hotter inside for some of those slightly more difficult filaments. And a lot of the features you'll see in quite a lot of other printers at the minute, auto bed leveling and all those sorts of goodies. Right, I think I need to press a button to do its resonance testing. It's resonance testing. It's also got 2 internal fans, and over there I spotted a camera as well. I'm just downloading the app on the iPad so we can give that some testing. Right, currently heating up the hot end. Let's see how much it's actually using in here. 270 watt. Right, we'll probably come back to it after this is finished what it's doing. And the final area is an active noise reduction. Let's come back when it's finished. Right, calibration progress complete. Start printing. Right, is there some preloaded models? Test model. Is it a benchy? Right, we've got a benchy. Cool. It would be silly not to do one of those, so let's get some filament in and go from there. So, Anycubic did send me some filament, which is nice of them for the video purposes. It's like filleting a fish. Right, for filming purposes, I asked them to send me a little selection, or they offered a selection. So I have got PLA in cyan, PLA in black, ABS in grey, and polycarbonate in black. So, with all their settings on them already, tells you about their length as well. So let's go for, we're going to do a benchy, so let's go for PLA to begin with in cyan. Right, let's undo it then. So unlock the case, open up, and it does say this is an auto feed, so I shouldn't have to load it. I should just put it in the correct hole, line it up, and right, let's just, there we go. All right, it sees it's got some material. It's currently, it knows it's PLA. Right, I didn't realise that these must have RFID chips in them, these filaments, because it is recognised that it is a PLA and it's recognised that it is blue. So it must have an RFID chip in it, whereas when it rotates it, scans at it what it is, and then loads it because it's automatically got it right and correct. So it is powered, so we can see the material, we can see that the dryer percentage inside, drying temperature remaining, which is I guess one of the nice features about this is as well as storing 4 of your filaments, you can actually actively keep your filaments dry because it is a dryer as well. Right, so we've got something loaded. We're going to go test model. We're going to go PLA benchy, auto leveling, tick, time lapse, tick. Don't need filament drying. Let's do flow calibration as well. Start printing. Right, we will close the door. It's currently starting to heat the chamber. Wow, and doing so, it is pulling 1600 watts. That's a pretty big output, actually. Let's get a thermal camera turned on and have a look. Oh yeah, okay, it's just the print bed is heating rapidly. Okay. Right, whilst that is setting itself up, we're gonna set up the app. Right, add printer, allow, right, we're just gonna log in with the printer. Yep, right. Okay, it wasn't that difficult to add it to the app. There we go. Right, shows what the printer's doing, shows the temperature of everything, what filament's loaded, what it's currently doing, AI detection, print history, it's currently busy. Yeah, so you can also log in and check on your print via the camera inside, which we looked at earlier. Right, we'll leave that as it is. That is doing the auto leveling, and we'll come back when it's finished. Oh, it did its first poop. And since it was purple and blue, it must have already been tested, which is pretty good. Printing away, done in just under 15 minutes. We'll come back and then. Well, with the app set up, it actually sent me a notification on my phone that it's finished, and there we go. working. Looks like a benchy. I'm sure a more advanced eye would see how good that is. There we go. So gives you a review as well of how long it took, height, layers. Yeah, right. As it is a multi-material printer, I'm just going to select one of the pre-molded models, time lapse, start printing, and then yeah, back for that one, now for that one. Right, we'll start printing in a minute. Right, multicolour print is done. This is one of the preloaded prints. It's just a two-coloured bottle opener. Not that I need a two-colour bottle opener, but just to quickly, see how well it worked. Doing a double colour print, nice. And a tower, and we've got a big pile of poop down in the corner. Right then, we need to do something which is a bit more difficult. And I've got a little idea for a project. So on my van, this is my diesel heater. It's actually my spare diesel heater. And it's not in the most ideal position. It still heats the van up, but it just blows air against there. I want to print some ducting for it. So I'm going to print a 90-degree fitting, which just comes out there and up like there. Now, normally for a lot of diesel heaters, you don't want big restrictions. So we're going to try and keep it quite a big 90-degree fitting just so it can come out, points up and probably over that way a little bit. And we're going to do that with polycarbonate. Polycarbonate should have the high temperature resistance I need for a diesel heater's hot air coming out to not melt it. Some of the other components I've used in diesel heaters in the past have been polycarbonate, but I've never printed it myself. So let's go design this loosely. So it's going to push onto there, come up there, point that way, and it should direct my hot air into the van. Let's go upstairs and jump on Tinkercad. Right, we're going to jump into Tinkercad because that's all that I really know how to use. And we're going to make a curved pipe, which is actually a real pain to do in Tinkercad. So instead of diameter 90mm, 3mm walls, so I'm going to make a circle with a total width of 96mm. We're going to export that into an SVG so it's flat, and then I'm going to re-import it and use a tool called SVG Revolve, which I haven't actually used that often before because I just learnt about it. We're then going to set the revolve angle to be 90 degrees because I wanted 90 degrees fitting. Doing that seems to mess up all of the scaling, so we need to scale it back up to be about 96mm. And then it's going to change a few of the angles. I want it to be quite a stubby corner. And then to finish it off, I need a little flex section, which is actually going to go on the heater itself. So I'm going to use the original thing I made, line it all up, group it together, and there we go. Time to export. Right, we are now in the splicer for Anycubic, so I'm going to import that model we just made. If I can remember where I put it, this one. Already orientated the way I want it. We are ready to print that. Let's sync my filaments. Right, it's got the filaments. I actually need to go load the polycarbonate in. Polycarbonate loaded. All right, spliced. I've just put the polycarbonate in so we can go sync filaments. Polycarbonate is now appearing there. Wonderful. So change filament to polycarbonate. Right, splice plate. 3 hours 40. I'm just going to do this normal orientation. Right, let's go. Remote print because I'm in the house and this is in the van. Print, AI detection. Yes, AI detection, flow, calibration, resonance, conversation. Just do all of it. Right, that's starting the task of printing it in the van. Right, print done. Brilliant. Right, I'll be honest, printing polycarbonate my first time, and there were some learning curves. My first one failed there, it detached from the bed. That also detached from the bed, so I did have to, and there's the remains of a few of the other attempts. Learning process for me printing polycarbonate was I had to use the active chamber heater to keep it up to 65 degrees and brought the bed up to 120 degrees and kept it there. And then when I did that on my final attempt, no problem at all, and a far larger brim and a few other settings. Right, let's install this and give it a go. Right, let's get it installed. This is the part. That's my 4kW heater. This is the normal adapter it uses to go from the heater to a 90mm ducting. It should go on nicely and then go on there like that. Job's a good one. Let's get the heater fired up and test it. And now I have my hot air blowing up opposed to blowing into that panel and get caught under the jackets. If I was doing it again, I would have probably used some supports just for those top edges are a little bit more messy than I would like. But overall, I'm pretty happy. And if you're familiar with diesel heaters, you don't want some sort of 90 degree this close to the heater. If you've got ducting, causes too much of a restriction, causes the heat to overheat. Because this is so large and so open and no ducting, there's not going to be that much of a restriction. But we'll test it, we'll run it at max and see how well it performs. All fired up. So far so good. I've been having it running maxed out on this 4kW heater for about 20 minutes so far. Outside temperature is about 125. I mean, the main hotspot is going to be the inside of that curve. Actually, that's a bit cooler. There you go. I think we'll leave it running for an hour max and see the results. Right, it's been running for about 50 minutes an absolute max now, and yeah, looks fine. 112, 120 degrees, excellent. And that's pretty much going to be the end of the video here. I think the Anycubic Kobra S1 Max combo is a pretty competitively priced 3D printer for a print bed of this size, and the specs for printing some of those higher temperature requirements for different areas. I'm not going to keep it in the van. I'm probably going to loan this to the office because I'm pretty sure they can make use of it with a print bed of this size than I can, because it's quite a big unit. So if you are after one of these, do consider where you might put it. And if you are after one of these, consider checking out the link in the description below to get more about it, and my affiliate link if you're really interested in one of them. Now, there's loads of more features I've not shown about it, so do look at the links for the website if you want to find out more about all the specific little things. I've just covered the main things which I think are quite important to me, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching. Anycubic, thank you very much for working with me. Working with partners like this helps me improve the things I can create, and it helps me fund the trips which I make for the free content you guys watch. So, but really, I just want to make content for you guys to enjoy. So thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.